Welcome to episode 2 on my $10,000 to $100,000 trading series where I take you on a journey with me to 10x our crypto portfolio. Now in this video, I'm going to give you an update on how this portfolio is tracking, altcoins I'm watching to buy, some altcoins I've continued to dollar cost average into, and my thoughts on the next week, because that's right, we are going to be doing weekly updates from now on. So of course, make sure you are subscribed with that bell notification turned on below because you don't want to be missing any of these videos when they come out. And of course, this isn't financial advice. This is a series I'm doing. I'm by no means making this series in order for anyone to copy it. Now, I really do mean this when I say, please go and watch episode 1. This episode breaks down why I've picked the initial 10 coins I have, the initial distribution, and again, some very important steps that I think most people just do not think about when they're making their crypto portfolios. Let me just say one thing before I get into the altcoin portfolio itself and my next steps. Guys, I'm seeing a lot of people beginning to panic when Bitcoin hits new highs and then rebounds. Like it hit $111,000 a day or two ago, okay? And then now it's down to $108,000 and people think it's all over, all right? Just some perspective is going to be really handy here. Patience is key in this sort of market. And as you'll soon see with some of the charts I want to break down here in a second, I do think that Bitcoin and therefore altcoins have a long way to go. So don't panic. Yes, I may make a video today and the market may be slightly down again tomorrow, but unless it's a 40% crash, it's a part of the game, okay? Now, this is the portfolio as it currently stands. What I've got here is the dollar cost average that I initially started off with back in that first video I made 1 month ago. Yes, it's been 1 month. For those asking, I've been on holidays. It's really hard to make content when you're on holidays, especially doing things like managing a second portfolio like this one. Anyway, I will get into the coin stats breakdown here in just one moment, but as it stands, we are currently up $500 in profit, which is about 5%, which of course is pretty good. You can see here I've made buys on every single altcoin when I did back here on April 22nd, with a budget over here per coin. So some coins have a little bit more like Ondo, some have a little bit less like Plume. And again, the reason simply is just because of risk management. Ondo is a large cap RWA play. Plume is a smaller cap RWA play. I put more guaranteed multiple chance in Ondo and less in Plume just because Plume's a smaller coin. However, we can therefore aim for more multiples in Plume. So it can work out very nicely depending on the setup. But again, it was all discussed in that first video. And over the course of time, I have been dollar cost averaging, okay? So this first DCA, I pretty much put in about 25%-ish per coin, okay? Now, the remaining budget here stands a little bit less, actually, than that first dollar cost average, simply because I've actually done a second round of DCAs, which I've done here today, okay? So that's May 24th, and I'll get to those in just a second. We'll talk about our average buy price and all the rest of it. But one thing I'll mention again is that this is part of the reason why it's so important. You guys have to be glued into your portfolios, because you can see here when I first made these buys on April 22nd, okay, the market moved sideways, nothing really too crazy, but then we were actually up 10% at one point. But again, I was unable to see the portfolio. So if I had made this video back then, I most definitely would have likely taken profit on our highest ROI altcoins and likely reshuffled that in down here. Now, like I said before, I do want to get into some of the factors that make me not want to take profit right now, because I guess some of you may be asking, Kyron, well, look, you're up right now about 5% on your portfolio. Why not take some profit off the table, especially on a coin like Injective, where I'm up 55%, or Arrow 50%, or FET up again about 50%. Why not take this off the table and then use that to invest into these coins a little bit more? And there's two main reasons for this. Number one is because we have around $5,500 US left in our cash supplies in our dry powder. So I'm not concerned with having a lack of capital to buy a dip. That's why you would want to take profit here. Of course, it makes sense to always take some profit. But for me, for the purpose of this series, I'm not going to bother with a 50% gain when I've only invested $250. Okay, so I don't have much ROI here. You can see $140, $90, $110. If it was maybe double or triple that, so maybe if I had invested my whole entire, $1,200 or $1,000 or $750 in these coins, and I had an ROI of, let's say, $200 or $300, yes, I would most definitely take some profit off the table. But as it stands right now, it's nothing too crazy. Now, the second reason why I'm not taking profit with only 5% is because as it stands right now, I do think we have a high chance of going much higher for altcoins. So I'm just going to let my position sit, not fiddle around too much here, and look to just put more of that $5,500 in dry powder into these coins somewhat soon. I'll be eyeing off entry levels here over the next week and two, okay? So you can see here just the stablecoin dominance. So this is USDT, USDC, and also DAI. Actually in this candlestick chart here, and we're on our way down. Now, down is good. Down means that we're going to have money flow into altcoins. You can see here, if I toggle the altcoins market cap, it's super reactive with the stablecoin growth, okay? It's much more reactive than even that of Bitcoin. So you can see here, Bitcoin's market cap, while it does react with stablecoins going down in a good way, it's not as reactive as altcoins, okay? And I do see a lot of extra capital coming into stablecoins soon, which I believe will flow into altcoins. So I'm not in a position right now where I'm happy to gamble on the fact that we are going to go lower. But of course, if we do, I have that $5,500 regardless. Not to mention as well, I do think Bitcoin has a good chance of going up to the ascending channel. The ascending channel here is this. Okay, so this essentially is alt season. So if we break this top line here, this will send altcoins parabolic like it has done back here in 2021. Okay, so if our total Bitcoin's dominance, again, Bitcoin's dominance falls when we break the upper trend line. Okay, and again, back here in 2017, Bitcoin went up, but of course, dominance fell because it gave way for altcoins. So I'm kind of banking here on a short-term, push to this upper trend line. And that's due to, partly this reason, MBRV, this white line here, so people aren't in significant profit just yet. If we go to the top of kind of where we have found resistance at the local high here and the local high over here, that would roughly put us at about $140,000 to $150,000. Again, that just simply means we go to the top of this trend line, which means we have a good chance of breaking out of it as well. Not to mention the SSRO, which is the stablecoin versus Bitcoin market cap. Essentially, if we do what we've done the last two times, being this push and this push, we're likely to see Bitcoin go somewhere around the top of this sort of rectangle over here, which would pretty much be a 2x of the move we've made here, which would put Bitcoin at around $160,000. And again, that's just simply because that'll help us break out of this channel. Like I said, I have done some dollar cost averaging, or I've pretty much bought every single altcoin I already have on this portfolio here, excluding FET. And I want to go into the reasons why and the coins I have. But you can, of course, see because most of these coins, I had been buying at higher prices. For example, Aerodrome, first buy was 40 cents, second buy was 61 cents. You can see the ROI technically has fallen down. However, of course, we are still sitting at the same level of profit, okay, which is, you can see here, at about $500. So nothing's really changed. It's just that we have put more of our capital in to dollar cost averaging. So for example, first of all, Aerodrome, buying down here at $187. So that's about 25% of the Aero position. And then of course, buying again here. The reason that I'm comfortable buying here is because it's beneath the TWAP, or the time weighted average price. Pretty much just gives us the fair price of Aerodrome over the last 6 months. Okay, that's the anchor period right there. So yeah, I'm happy to buy Aerodrome underneath that. And of course, we can see here, Aerodrome's market cap versus others. So it's Aero versus the rest of the altcoin market. You can see it has, of course, rebounded quite nicely here, where most altcoins that are a little bit weaker right now have not done this, okay? So it has rebounded quite nicely. It's at about 45%, which I'm quite happy about. Now, another coin I'm eyeing off here is actually Morpho. Now, I don't own Morpho just yet in this portfolio, okay? But it is one that's showing significant strength. So I'm going to keep my eyes on this. You can see here versus altcoins, it's done exceptionally well for a small cap especially, 57% up, and it barely has fallen from the local highs. So I'm expecting this coin to do well. And honestly, guys, I'm getting more and more bullish on RWA coins, and to some degree, Morpho is an RWA coin. It's going to be working with Coinbase, which is the foundation it's built on, the Base network. It's going to be kind of used with Base in terms of like lending and borrowing for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of potential here for this coin, and it's beneath the 6-month TWAP. So I'm eyeing off potentially here buying under $1.80, which is the current TWAP. But like I said, if I do decide to buy it, it will be in the next video. And also BounceBit BB, another RWA coin here. Super interesting small cap project. And again, just like Morpho, I am interested in buying this coin. The mindshare for this project as well, being such a small cap, it's got a lot of mindshare, right? So the engagements right now per day are sitting at 373,000. And you can see over the last 6 months how it's kind of built itself back up again, okay? So it's done really well to gain a lot of attention. And if you check out their socials, you'll find the same thing. Well, this portfolio, of course, is designed to make money and, again, at certain stages, take some profit off the table, like, again, I would have done over here had I been active. You know, I also do want to make sure that we are diversified very carefully. I don't want to be overexposed to one narrative or one altcoin. So, you know, Morpho and BounceBit are both technically RWA coins. Morpho isn't quite directly, but either way, I think I'm naturally gravitating towards this area because you can see here on CoinMarketCap just how well they have recovered from 72 billion market cap highs down to, you know, it fell down to 40 billion, and then now it's sitting at 57 billion. So when you compare it again to, you know, very popular narratives as well, like meme coins or even AI altcoins in their market cap, you can actually find something pretty interesting here, which is that RWA coins have just reacted so much better to the market turning around here. So if alt season does blow out, if we do break out of the ascending channel, this is a group of altcoins I see doing very well. So like I said, I have my eyes on both of these coins for the next few weeks here. Now, like I said before, I haven't actually invested any more this week into FET. And the reason being is because FET right now is above the 6-month TWAP. Now, let me get one thing straight. I'm not a trader. I'm not a technical analyst myself. I'm actually bringing on someone named Craig Cobb, who is a 20-year veteran in trading stocks, you know, commodities, everything, bonds, and he's been working in crypto now since about 2015. He's coming on the channel for this series to actually help us trade. And Craig's also going to be in the Discord down below and also the private community giving calls as well. He's actually given us a free course. Again, all links will be down below, so please check those out. He'll be helping me with TA, which is something, of course, I lack in. But as it stands right now, what I'm using is the TWAP, and you can't go wrong with just looking at the fair price of a coin over a period of time, right? And so based on history, we're likely going to see these coins not last all too long above the TWAP unless it's a moment like this where we find a massive narrative push or something like this with it, which is just like a mini alt season, so to speak, okay? So none of those two are playing out right now, so I do expect there to be a moment soon where we find FET fall back beneath the fair value and for us to get a better position in the coin. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, guys, like even holding this coin for the next 3-4 months, 6 months, okay, we're going to find the prices being much higher. I at least believe anyway. But what we're trying to do here is potentially take some profit in the shorter term, okay, like I would have again done back over here. The next coin is Chainlink, and you can see here I have put some more money into this coin today. I will most definitely be buying more Chainlink, and you can see we do have about $500 to still go to buy of the coin if we need to. I believe in Chainlink for this cycle, so I have no problem if worst comes to worst, just simply hoarding and holding this coin for the next 6 to 12 months because these guys, I think, are just going to blow the market away. They're working with, you know, institutions, they're working with governments even. These guys are at the forefront of RWA and have been for years behind the scenes. I've got no problem with Chainlink at all. The next coin here is HBAR, and I tell you what, it feels so bad inside when I'm buying HBAR at 18 cents when I was buying this coin in the bear market for like 4 or 5 cents. But anyway, it definitely is a good coin with more upside potential. So I did buy an extra $250 down here as well. A lot of interesting updates coming for HBAR. I actually do plan to make a video on this coin sometime soon just to cover it. There's so much that has happened, as well as Injective, of course, as well. These guys are great because they hit multiple different narratives. You can see on this narrative tracker sheet, they're pretty much in every single narrative. I mean, they're an unstoppable force in my opinion, and I think it's a matter of time before people actually catch on to this coin. They also have a great burn mechanism as well, just like actually FET. Okay, they're both, well, I think Injective definitely is deflationary. FET isn't quite yet, but FET has a great application coming soon that I think will allow it to be very quickly. So yes, Injective, I again have put an extra $250 into this coin. ICP, I've also bought this coin's well beneath the TWAP here. I think I will probably take some profits off ICP once it does break out of the TWAP. The main reason simply is because this coin is struggling right now versus the altcoin market, okay? So if I pull this chart up here, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's not to say the coin's bad, by the way, but I do think, like, again, you're kind of using this as a trading series, not necessarily like a hoarding series or a hodling series. So I do want to look at a coin that, versus others or versus the altcoin market is showing signs of immediate growth potential, which can definitely be a coin like Tau. If I actually toggle Tau here, I think it's Tau B is the ticker. You can see the strength coming in for Tau, okay? The unfortunate thing with Potenza is that right now it's actually far and away above the TWAP, okay? So if I toggle the TWAP here, you'll see that, again, it's not really an ideal opportunity. So again, maybe a coin like ICP could be for the short term. Let ICP ride up. When we have a slight market correction, if that does come, maybe going into Tau at that point in time. So next up, I do want to talk about Near Protocol. Near's, of course, had some great updates. This coin is now faster than Solana. So I think when people catch on to the whole fast layer one narrative again, like it did in the previous cycle, I think there's a good chance Near Protocol has a good memeability or uniqueness about it that could give it some more attention. But these days, it's most definitely known as an AI project, of course, being a layer one inherently as well. So yes, a lot of upside potential, I think, for this coin, especially if AI agents as a narrative really shines back again, which I think it probably will, right? Also, Ondo, you can't go wrong with Ondo Finance. I think one of the legends here in RWA, right next to Chainlink. And so I'm, of course, happy to continue buying this coin and just like Chainlink, hold it in the worst possible case for the rest of the cycle to achieve our overall 10x. And that is one thing to consider, guys, as well. Like these coins I'm buying, in the case that I do end up in hospital or like on this trip, for example, let's say I go on vacation for 6 more months and I don't check the portfolio. These coins are more than capable of hitting a 10x from these prices regardless. So that's one thing to consider as well. Like I always have an idea in my head of a rough 10x. So in the worst case, we'll at least get that based on holding the coin, not trading. But again, the idea is to trade in the series. You can see over here for Plume, I did invest. Okay, I put $187 back here into the coin, and I have bought some more now. The reason why I bought back over here when I first made that video was to just pretty much buy every coin, so there'd be a nice example of it over here for you guys to see on coin stats. But of course, I've got a better entry down here. So it is now beneath the TWAP ever so slightly. So we'll see it. And over the coming week, if I do find this coin falling quite a lot, I might go heavier into a position. And lastly, we have Render. And you can see here, we are just beneath the TWAP. So I have no problem throwing in another 25% for this coin. And just like Tau, it's one of the only AI altcoins that have rebounded quite nicely in these current market conditions. Most AI altcoins, like I showed you with ICP, also like Near Protocol as well, okay, they haven't done so well. And again, Near Protocol and ICP are two of the better AI altcoins. You can see are really struggling here. So, the fact that the strong AI altcoins are struggling may be an indication that, others are as well, the smaller caps. You can see here as well, even with FET. So, but FET's kind of had a bit of a rebound. So that's a bit of a different story, but much of a muchness. So regardless, happy to continue buying a strong AI play like Render. So guys, thank you so much for watching this episode 2 of the trading series. All links will be, of course, down below for you to follow along as well. With that being said, talk to you soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.